Hi, and welcome to the final episode of Project Thompson, Season 1. My name is Chong, and behind the camera is Dennis Foley this time. With me today is Nick DiVirgilio, a longtime Thompsonite and business owner. Nick, thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
So Nick, you've been involved with the Lions Club for a great many years.
40 years.
Yes, and with the being with the Lions Club, you've helped cultivate a lot of community in town.
A lot of projects.
Exactly. So I guess my first question to you is, why did you choose the Lions Club over all the other community organizations that existed back then?
Because that's one of the Lions member. It was Mike Barron. He approached me if I want to join the Lions Club. And that was the only club that I was approached. That was the first one, and I joined it right away. So
you've helped to develop a lot of projects and buildings and other projects throughout Thompson. One thing in particular, when we were speaking earlier, was about the Lions Park. It's the one with the plane.
One of our major projects was the help the spirit away to the wolf. We had 17 sites for the wolf, and then from that we continued to we rebuilt it, one of the seaplanes. That's where the playground is for the Lions Club and the Spirit. We are joined together. And that was on that side, so we're fundraising between the Spirit Away and the Lions Club, probably $1.5 million on that side. And all the money was donated, raised. The city was involved on it. They donated, I believe it was $30,000, if I'm correct. And most of the fundraising came from recycling batteries.
Now, you touched upon that battery recycling, and that's a question that I wanted to ask you about. Was how did you guys come up with the idea to recycle batteries for fundraising?
The first wasn't the batteries, was the paper recycling. On the 70s and the 80s, we collect papers, newspaper through the communities. About 44 members at the time. On the 70s, on the 80s, the newspaper went down at $10 a ton. It wasn't feasible anymore. So we applied for a permit for environment to get, you could have a license to collect batteries. It's environmental, so we got that. And we continue to collect batteries. And we used to sell the batteries collected. That was a lot of work, at 4 cents a pound. And that was barely, that wasn't much of revenue. But then all of a sudden it started to increase to 6 cents to 10, 15, 20. Then I met a Lions member. He's got a scrapyard in Winnipeg that they give us a better deal. Now we're up to 40 cents a pound. And that's where the money's come from. A lot of time we get 20,000 a load. For each year, we ship about 60 to 65,000 pounds of batteries.
It's a lot of batteries.
A lot of batteries. So for this year, the money to be collected is going to go towards the senior housing, which is a major project that was starting last year. And the project's about $70 million. And we've done fundraising to the communities. And we hope that a lot of people is going to support us to complete that project.
Very good. That's a lot of history of the Lions Club, a lot of projects that they were involved in. It was amazing how much you guys have accomplished over these years. And the fact that you guys are still accomplishing all this, even to this day. Just like you are a Lions Club member, Dennis and I are actually Freemasons members. And we've learned through our history that we are connected to Carl Nesbitt and Gordon Beard. And I understand that you knew them way back in the day. And as one of the crucial people in building Thompson's many facilities, what was your relationship with Carl Nesbitt and Gordon Beard?
It was just a family member, basically. He was my neighbor. I live on 23 Walnut. And he had the house on Acre. We're side by side on the backyard. We're side by side. We put a gate on our yard so you can come on our place and we'll go to his place. We used to make wine at the time, in the 60s. Carl Nesbitt just loved a glass grape wines. So we always made wine and give him a few bottles soon. So you will come in and have a glass of wine with us. And we start talking, and he said, why don't you guys get involved in the community? If you want to build anything, any land you want, it's yours, basically. So the first building we built it, he gave us the land at the Beaver Crescent. It was a neighborhood shopping center. It was 1964. We had a coffee shop, ice cream parlors. We had a barber shop in there, and later on there was a bookstore, which is still going at this time. My son still runs the bookstore.
Yeah, and I remember going to that bookstore when I was a child.
And we had a little car race on inside a little restaurant. There was you could come in and remote cars. We had tremendous car race for the kids and the families when they come there. We have coffee and ice cream. So we ran that business for a while, and then it was sold it. We built a couple of houses in town, my dad and myself, on Eastwood area. We just sold about 10 years ago. We sold those facilities.
Those are the ones on Yale?
That was in the street there. That's the first house was built on Eastwood area. But I'm still involved. 1980, we started a soccer program in Thompson, myself and my brother, which we sponsor adult league, and we had youth league. We had 2 teams we sponsored, and then we had worked on baseball, helped the kids in baseball for a couple of years, and then I started heavily involved in bowling. So I started bowling, and personally, I enjoyed bowling. I worked with the program with the kids at YBC, Thompson Lane. That's what I started. I had a perfect game in 1974. It's just second year I started bowling, and that's what got me going on the sports. And then I won so many nationals, provincial. I won over 20 provincial, 18 years on the Masters, straight until 7 years ago. I had a back because I had a problem with my back, and I had some small issues. And I won it back 3 years ago, which I won the provincial. And I went to a national at Newfoundland. And 2 years ago, I went back again. I bowled, and I won the provincial again, and I went to Calgary for the national. And last year I didn't enter it. Same with this year because I wasn't up to par with my physical. So, and I still have the program with the YBC, which is bowling. And I have Lily Jacobs went to the national. Won the provincial. She just came back this weekend. So that's a very accomplishment. I love the kids. And also, I've been involved with City of Thompson. I maintain all the schools. You name it, I done it, and I support it.
That's very good. So early on when we spoke before, you mentioned that you worked at Inco when you first moved to Thompson. And what I was wondering was, what made you decide to quit Inco to start your own business?
Well, when I came to Thompson, it was 1964. On the fall, I had met Air Lamontagne, which was electrical foreman at Inco at the time, and I asked him if I could somehow get into the electrical or even labor or assistance or whatever, and he gave me that chance to start it. And I worked with Joe Tevino, which is still in town. That was Grant Yo, Burl Turgeson. He's still there. Grant Yo passed away, fortunately. John Cundy was involved at the time. He's still in town. And we got together, and I learned a lot, and I was working. Then I started working with Wally Aska, who was the superintendent of the mine that came from England. And he loved what I was doing. So he loved what I was doing with the electrical. He kept me under his wing. And he says, "You're my little pet boy. You come with me." And he saw me in whatever I do, and it was really good. He loved it. And I stayed with him until 69. And then there was so much work in this community. I could do any business you wanted, and I decided to quit Inco and started my own business in 1969. And I started electrical with Grant Yo and John Conti. We were three of us, three partners. We ran KNC Electric until 1982. And then that's when we decided to split apart, and I purchased this facility at 3 Station Road, which was Beaver Lumber, and it was on the 80. Was the economy in Thompson was pretty bad, and I bought these facilities, and then I went overseas for 3 months for a holiday with the families, which I had Tony and Carla. At the time was married, 67, and it was says when I come back, if everything goes well, fine. If not, if we lose it, I had nothing when I came anyway, so it didn't make no difference.
Mm-hmm. Going back to your to this North Center Mall, you recently expanded this mall, and back then you mentioned that when you first built some of the first commercial properties, it was just as easy as asking the right people and shaking hands, right?
Correct.
So I mean, what kind of challenges did you face this time around when you started the expansion? Because obviously now we have permits, we have bylaws, we have all these different things to go through now.
There's no problem with me because I took all the permits, all my facilities got a right permit. I can deal with the city. I had no issues whatsoever. The one helping me the most was Don McLean. He was the mayor. And I had a problem to purchase this land adjacent to the highways. And he says, because I want to expand my parking lot and stuff. And the council said, no, you can't buy it. That's supposed to be a green space. And I said, yeah, but it's a swamp. And I said, I can fix it. So Don McLean said, well, don't worry about it. He says, give him a $5,000 check, basically. And the land, it's yours. And then when we do subdivide it, and then we'll make sure it's transferred the land. But I said, I'll maintain the land up to the highways, put a trees, green space, fence, whatever it's required, I'll maintain it myself. The city doesn't have to be part of it, because I'll do all the maintenance for it. And I'm still doing after 32 years now. Wow. Because I do well maintain it. And I spend a lot of money on it to maintain every year. And also I built a lot of buildings. I had 23 Station Road. It was limestone training center. And then after the lease was over, I sold it to Mama Wheat Talk Center. Yeah. They purchased that building. And then I built the Bankside building. That was my facilities. Yeah. It used to be a meat shop. Melford Meat used to be in there. So they had that facility for 6 years, and then we sold the facilities to Prince Furniture. They bought it, and then they resold it to Bankside.
I didn't know Prince Furniture was back there at that time.
Yes.
Oh, very interesting. Very interesting.
And the Pick-a Pop was at 27 Station Road.
I remember Pick-a Pop.
Yeah. That's we had our first shop was behind the Pick-a Pop. We had a little. Actually, the building's still there. We had the electrical shop. That's where we started. Wow.
Yeah, you've. It's amazing, and I really kudos on maintaining the highway space. I mean, I can't imagine you've given so much to the community in that respect. Like, it doesn't seem like any amount is trivial to you if it means improving our community.
And I always done that. So.
Mm-hmm. And that's a good way to improve our community around us. And and I feel that a lot of people could actually take from your example in town. You really are a person to look up to. But I want to actually go backwards a little bit and talk a little bit about your bowling and your passion for it. And you love bowling so much, and you're a 20-time national bowling champion. I don't know anyone else who can say that while still sounding humble. But what I want to ask you is, there are a lot of people just in the world in general who want to make a living out of their passion, and you've made a living with your passion out of bowling, because you have the Crossroad Lanes, and I just want to know, what kind of advice would you have for these people who want to pursue their passion as a living?
Well, you can start anything you want if you believe in yourself. You can start any business. Help is out there to assist you, but you have to work at it. You can't just start a business. Then you go buy a big truck or a big car. You say, well, I start a business, I'm going to do everything. And then a lot of people went bankrupt for that reason.
That's right.
They're not looking after the business. It's all about start a business. Oh, they can run it. I can go for all day, whatever. I never left my business unattended. I always worked at it. My family worked at it. And that's why it's been successful. When I came to Thompson, I had a little suitcase. Our family, we had nothing. Basically, right now, we have a lot of equity, and we travel all the time. And the thing is that if you work on a business, you have to make sure you're liable first.
That's right.
You know what you're doing. Number one, you got to know what's all about it. If you know any type of business you start, if you don't know the background, how to operate and stuff, you must well not start it because you're not going to make it.
This is true, yeah.
So that's number one. Number two, you should try to keep the family together as possible to work on their business, because that's the key of the success. And our family's been tremendous with me, Tony and Carla.
And you have them helping you out too.
That's right. So everyone and my grandchildren now, they own their own business. Brienne, she's got a Salon Italia on her own. Kara, she's pretty well, she can work with sister anytime. She's pretty well qualified for it. Right now she works at the bank, get extra experience so they can work on the business. And what else can I say? If you go back to the business, you got to work at it and be successful. I had a hard time at the start. Nobody would lend any money. Mm-hmm. And everything we have right now, we don't owe money to anybody because I work hard at all the money. I went on holidays every year with my families. But when we come back, we work hard at it.
That's right.
So it's
work hard, play hard.
And we went to San Francisco, Hawaii, Italy. We go every year right now because we can afford it to go.
That's right.
And we still have properties in Italy. I still have my mama there. She's 95. Mm-hmm. And my sister's 73 because I'm just below her. Mm-hmm. My brother's in Toronto. She's got a barbershop in Toronto. My nephew there in Toronto. And and then regarding the bowling, and I bowl across the country from East Coast to West Coast. And I bowl a lot of tournaments, cash tournaments, and that's what I done really well at it. I was named number one 1985 across the country.
Wow.
And I'm the top 100. This year last year was 100th anniversary for the bowling. Mm-hmm. And I was the top 10, and I was I was number one in Manitoba.
Wow. Yep.
For the first 100 years, bowling wise.
Well, I better not play a game of bowling against you, because.
Well, right now with my bowling, it's I can still do it, but it's not the way it used to be. So
I'm pretty sure even with your handicap, you still beat me soundly.
I never had any handicaps. So. But I have won quite a bit of money on nationwide in bowling because that was my passion. And I used to work Monday to Friday, 10, 12 hours a day. Drive out here Friday afternoon, about 4 o'clock, drive to go Winnipeg, Saskatoon, Calgary. Go bowling Saturday afternoon, and Sunday come back to work on Monday.
Awesome.
And I've done lots of those trips.
Oh, that's a really, really good detailed answer. And I mean, you're right. You have to work hard at your business. Yeah. You can't slack off, but I mean, at the same time, you also need to take time for yourself. Like you have, your family does come first, obviously. But I mean, you also have to find that balance between life and work. Yeah. So now I want to kind of shift gears and just talk about Thompson in general. And this is a question that we have asked all of our past guests before. And so the question I'm going to ask you is, what is it about Thompson that you love that keeps you here? Because I mean, like Italy. You've gone to Italy, like you say, once a year, and from like even just looking at pictures, I mean, it's such a beautiful looking place, beautiful country. You got family back there. I mean, why Thompson? What do you love about this place that keeps you here?
Everybody's finding Thompson. Thompson, you can achieve anything you wanted if you wanted to do it. If you want to work 8 hours, fine, you work 8 hours. If you want to go fishing at the lake, it's only half hour from here.
That's right.
If you want a cottage at the lake, it's here, which I have one there for the families. And especially the business in Thompson, it's been tremendous. The community has been tremendous. I dealt with pretty well every household in Thompson. And I love them. I love the kids. I support the kids. Soccer, baseball, and I support them. Especially on the bowling, YBC, and I spend a lot of extra time right now. And I give a lot back to the communities I supported. and I donated to basically any comes for request, and I always donate something.
Well, that goes without saying. Yeah, that's amazing. Well, I mean, before I spoke to you, I mean, I always just kind of knew you as Tony's dad, because like, you know, my association with him through the Book Nook. But now that I've gotten a chance to sit down and talk to you, I mean, you've led such an amazing life. You're such an inspiration to so many people out there in Thompson, and if you aren't, then you should be. So now I wanted to talk a little bit more real and ask you a question about how there are other similar communities around, not just Thompson. There's a town in Alberta called Olds, and they put together this huge consortium to improve their internet quality, because back then, because over there they had only dial-up at the time. So then they started their own fiber internet, which is pretty much the equivalent of Google down in Silicon Valley, right, where they've started their own internet down there. So when they put their minds together, the whole community banded together, they put their money into it, and they got so much more back out of it. So that's one example, and I'm sure there are many others out there. There are many other towns who, if they are watching this right now, would probably say, well, we do that definitely better than Thompson. So with that in mind, what do you think Thompson can do to follow in those examples?
Well, Thompson, at this time, it's the hub of the North for transportation. You can go any place, you got to come to Thompson, and then you can fly from here. There's winter roads, there's all year round roads right now. There's a lot of opportunity in Thompson: fishing, sports, hunting, anything you want, it's in Thompson. But Thompson needs more promotion. There's very little of that. It's been going on. That I'm hoping that the city promotes Thompson a lot more for fishing, hunting, tourism. Number one, it's the tourism. If you can bring more tourism in Thompson, the best. You got a lot of money here that we can do it. As a matter of fact, when we got 3 wolves by North Center Mall, which it's on the properties, I put the flags on it. That's all my cost. I sponsored it and I put it there. But any time I see people sending it, taking pictures, I go outside and talk to them. If there's tourism, I says, well, what'd you like to know about Thompson? And he said, well, we just walked from the training station, we don't know where to go. And I said, well, okay, if you got half an hour, an hour, and I said, I'll take you around. And I just put on my car and I show Thompson, if they have half an hour, and I just take them all the side, whatever I can do for them. And I have a lot of letters back. Thank you that I went out of my time with my vehicle, spend time and take them around. Take them to high school, the zoo, any site, or all the sites from Spiritway, the plane, take them to the airport. I took one couple to Saskatchewan Rapids because they had 2 hours, and I said, but you only can go there and back. I showed them the falls, and they were from Australia. We had some from China, we had some from the States, from Italy, and then I had a sponsor. That was through the Lions Club, sponsor from Italy, Ukraine. We had 2 on each places. We had some Bosnia, because that was on the war there, was terrible. And those kids, they were about 15, 16, didn't even want to go back. Because I took them to Churchill. I took the hydro dams to show them the Gillen. And they just couldn't believe it. What's up here? So Thompson, it's the best place to be right now. Weather-wise, it's cold, but it's fine. I've been here over 50 years, it doesn't bother me.
We all should be used to it by now.
But Thompson, it's the best place to be, and I hope that more people promote Thompson for tourism, and I hope the city gets more involved in that. That's what we need here, promotion. And I know Spiritway and the Lions Club, I'm involved with those because I'm board members with them, and the promotion we're doing is tremendous and not cost to the city or the taxpayers.
So Nick, I mean, with everything that you've said here, everything you've given back to the community, and in the exact same 24 hours a day that the rest of the world has, you've accomplished so much. And you were talking about how we need to give back to the community, and we will only get back what we put into something that we're passionate about. And Dennis and I, with Project Thompson, we're definitely trying to give back to the community by improving our promotion, and we don't do this in return for anything. We don't ask for any money, and we paid for all of this with our time, with our effort, and with our own money to get this video series out there, and so people could see the benefits and the positiveness of Thompson. So I'm glad that we got a chance to talk today, and I'm sure that this won't be the last time that we'll hear from you for sure. But I definitely want to thank you again for being a part of Project Thompson.
Oh, you're quite welcome. I never promoted myself. People does for me, but I never go out of the way to promote my business or myself, because that gets done whatever I put into the community. So, and I always done that. I always believe in that. If you promote yourself, you don't go far. I have other people to promote me. If they say I do things well, they can say a good thing. If they think I've done some bad things, they can say bad things. So.
Truly a humble answer from a humble man. So once again, this has been another, and it's the final episode of Project Thompson, Season 1. My name is Yawhann Chong, and behind the camera is Dennis Foley, and I was talking today with Nick DiVirgilio. I definitely want to take this moment to thank our viewers for watching us for these past 6 episodes. It's been an incredible ride, and I really appreciate all the positive comments that we've gotten from the community so far. From the bottom of our hearts, definitely thank you all. We're looking at filming Season 2, hopefully in the fall. So definitely watch out on our Facebook page. It's on projectthompson.ca. You can also watch some of our episodes on episodes.projectthompson.ca, and you can also email us at interviews@projectthompson.ca. See you next time.
My name is Nick DiVirgilio, and I'm a Project Thompson.
Hi, and welcome to the... Someone's walking. Hi, and Dennis is walking in front of the camera. No, I was kidding. Bloopers! So given your history with the Lions Club throughout Thompson, and even just for yourself, you were telling me before that, no, let me start that again. How was I going to ask this one? Oh, okay. Sort of remember.
Yawhann messes up too.
Yeah, everyone messes up. Oh yeah.
We're just gonna give these guys a second. You guys get back in the winter. We are in a second, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Get ready, you guys are next.
No.
No, just kidding. Like what?
Just deer in headlight look.
There's so much to say, but
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, it's so hard to say. We only have like less than 25 minutes to say it all in.
50 years, it's a long
It
time.
is a lot to summarize, very hard. If you mess this up, I will kill you. No, I'm just kidding. Excellent. Woo-hoo-hoo!
And Sunday, come back to work on Monday.
Awesome.
I've done lots of those things.